Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this unboxing of Marvel Champions the card game hero pack, Ironheart. And the big difference here is this is basically an expansion. If you already own the base game, this is just a pre-built deck to where you can get Ironheart and her cards and then hopefully some new cards. And then also, if you are someone who does not own the core game, you just want to jump in and play with your friends or whatever, and you love Ironheart, this is a pre-made deck, good to go, straight out of the box, you can play it. And we actually do a video where I'm going to put this against Rhino, which is like the kind of the starter. It's in the core box. It's one of the starter deck bad guys they just have you do. So I just like to do that with Rhino and see if this deck can hold up against the villain immediately just by itself. So I'll play it unchanged. But the main reason I bring that up is because they did make some changes on this one and the Nova one. It used to be, it would say here, hey, yeah, here's the hero deck, just like I said, good to go. You can play it immediately, or you can use it as just an expansion to give you more cards. And then here it would tell you how many new cards you were getting. Well, now they started adding in, when you go against a villain, they have like these modular scenario things that can be mixed in. Like in the case with the Nova one, it would basically add Armadillo and his side scheme and what he's trying to do along with while you're trying to bring the villain down. So yeah, Rhino, I can tell you right now, Rhino's main scheme is he is trying to take down the shield facility. And I'm sorry, this is for anybody who's new to this or who's old to this, because I'm just going through this for someone who's just kind of interested in checking it out. What it does is, if you go against Rhino, he's trying to break into a shield facility and steal vibranium. Well, if you mix in Armadillo as a side thing, while he's doing that, Armadillo may just show up and start messing with stuff in town. So while you're taking care of stopping Rhino from stealing, you also have to now go deal with Armadillo. And then, so that's what they're doing. They're adding in an extra little modular set now, whereas before it would just be some extra cards that you could use to switch between the four different oh my goodness, my brain just went blank here. The four different aspects. So like this deck is going to be built into one of the four aspects, whereas like the Nova one was aggression, this one's going to have one, and then usually it would come with some extra cards so you could switch to the other aspects, but you would need other expansions or the core box in order to fulfill that deck. Anyways, that's enough going on the sidetrack on that. And then also it lets you know the nemesis, because each character has one nemesis that can come in that would also, just like with that Armadillo thing, the nemesis, now it takes a card like Shadows from the Past, and then I noticed with the Mysterio subset that it had a way to bring the nemesis in also, but it would bring in as this nemesis, Lucia von Bardos. I don't know much about Ironheart, so this is going to be kind of new to me in some regards. I know a little bit, but not enough to where I would know who this character is. But anyways, that's enough side talk. Let's talk about that. And then if you want to, now you're going to see everything if you're watching this video, but if you get to your LGS and you want to scan these, Fantasy Flight does put this little thing on the back where you can scan it and it will let you know, hey, these are the cards inside of here. So, pretty cool. There's also a seal here. I've already pre-cut that so that we can get right into it, but it'll let you know if your deck's already been tampered with or whatnot. Alright, so when you open this up, you should have a pack that's going to be sealed with all your cards in it, with your deck. And then you're going to check underneath this flap also, and you're going to pull this thing out. Other than that, the rest of that is just packaging. Inside of here is going to be a poster, which will be the same poster that is the front there. And then on the other side will be the rules, basically, anything that's new here. And then right here, it'll let you know what of the four aspects it is. In this case, leadership, which is one of the main aspect I play, actually. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to see some new leadership cards, hopefully. And then the credits and whatnot. And sorry, I'm still getting used to, because I used to do these unboxings and I would just basically just show the cards. Now I'm kind of talking about them, but I'm not used to doing that much talking in a video, so I skip around a lot and haven't got a pattern down yet. Well, right off the bat here, we see the hero character card that you're going to have. We got Ironheart here. She's got the 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. And then we get that she's a champion, and this is version 1. And it does say level up, so maybe we got different. Interesting. So, sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit, but so it looks like she's going to have a way of leveling up, because it says here, level up as an action, remove 6 progress counters from Ironheart, ready her, and swap her with version 2 Ironheart. Here's version 1. That's something you knew. We have not seen a way to level up characters and do different things here. And I'm going to stop here and show. I'm going to see if I can get it on camera here. I'm noticing, I used to notice it in the Arkham Horror LCG, or the Arkham Horror card game, that some of the cards would come kind of already damaged, and this is one of them. It might be kind of hard to see here, but there's a big scratch and gouge right across the front there. Hoping that it didn't go through, but it's kind of annoying. And the reason I know it can't just be from the outside packaging is sometimes in the LCG we would see it on cards in the middle of the packaging, so it's just kind of weird. I think it has to do with the paper and how it gets printed on or whatnot. I did notice something else here I'm going to talk about, and it probably is going to go up because of the leveling up, but they do have the hand size 4 here, which typically the hero form, a typical hand size is 5. Hit points 10, that's pretty typical. And then on the other side we have her alter ego, which is a 3 recovery, Riri Williams. Begin the game with this card, set your other identities aside, see insert. So it was part of that rules. I kind of saw that. It said progress. I was like, well, we'll see if we can figure it out by just looking at the deck. Child Prodigy, action, spend 1 mental resource. And if I say these wrong, I'm sorry. I do play a lot of Legendary, so sometimes I get the resources kind of mixed up. But place 1 progress counter on Riri Williams. So this is how you can level her up. And I'm sure she's going to have other cards. Otherwise, getting 6, man, that's 6 turns. That'd be a while. But all right. So then we see her version 2 here, which we can see upgrades her thwart. And she has now the aerial trait. And level up action, remove 6 progress counters from Ironheart, ready her, and give her a tough status card, and swap her to version 3. Oh, did her hand size go up? Yep, her hand size went up to 5. I did notice her starting hand size is 6 and 10, so that's atypical. Same back here, same here, 3. Genius, same. Child Prodigy, spend a mental resource or 2 resources of any type to place 1 pre. So a little easier to level her up, but does the same thing. And now we see her version 3, and we see that the change is she's basically going to go up and thwart again. And now she don't have a way to level up because it's probably her max. Hero action, remove 1 progress counter from Ironheart, deal 2 damage to an enemy. And then her other side, action, spend 1 resource of any type, place a progress counter on Riri Williams. So you can basically still put the progress counters on her, which makes me think she's going to have cards that are going to add progress counters still, and it's a way of just using them to basically help damage. And that's the reason you don't see her damage go up, it's only her thwart, is because this thing is going to basically allow her damage to go up, because you can just progress her up. But cool. The hand size actually did go up again. Sorry, I'm not used to that changing, but the hand size does go up to 6 in this one. But the back stayed the same from the beginning. All right, so the next 15 cards we're going to see are going to be ones that are unique to her. So what it means is, for if you're new, if you want to play Ironheart and you want to change from leadership, we know this is a leadership aspect, and you want to go to aggression or justice or protection, you will have to include these 15 cards, and you'll know them because they'll be down here, and they'll let you know which card number it is of the 15 cards. But here we have Brawn. So we have another Brawn. The other Brawn is a aggression only card. This one is one with her only. Unique to her. It is a 4 cost for 3 hit points. He could thwart for 2, attack for 3, and only takes 1 damage for doing such. Seems pretty good because that's going to be 9 damage. While Braun is exhausted, he gains resource, generate a mental resource. So you attack with him, and then since he's exhausted, you can use him to get a free resource. This seems really good, especially for leveling her up and doing things. So pretty cool. We got fly over here, an event for 2. Hero action. Remove 3 threat from a scheme and place 1 progress counter on Ironheart. So she's gonna, the typical remove 3 threat, but also gonna let you level her up or build her up to do some damage. There'll probably be 3 of these. Oh no, there's only 2 of those. Well, probably because you're gonna progress up and be able to do a lot more thwart, so they don't want to give you too many. But 2, hero action, attack, event. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and place 1 progress counter. So the same things fly over. So since we saw 2 of those, probably see 2 of these. Oh, 3 of these. 3 cost event, new and improved. Hero action, choose X different options where X is equal to Ironheart's version number. So if you have her at level 1, she'll get to do 1 of these. Level 2, you'll get to do 2 of them. Level 3, you'll get to do all of them, which is search your deck for an Ironheart card and add it to your hand. So if you need to go get that attack or if you need to go get that thwart, give Ironheart a tough status card so that she can take damage, or ready Ironheart. Man, if you're able to do all 3 of those, seems pretty good. I mean, just that first one alone, being able to go search and look for it. And you got 2, so you got 2 there. 3, cost event, sector scan, reduce the cost to play sector scan by X, where X is equal to Ironheart's version number. Hero action, until the end of the round, you may look at the top card of the encounter deck at any time. Well, I guess if you can get it to free, that's pretty good. Otherwise, I think I would just use this one. And there's only 1 of those. Stroke of Genius, this is a resource. Response, after you spin this card, place 1 progress counter on your identity and draw a card. And it's got that mental resource. So this is going to let you level her up. Plus, if you're using that to level her up, put a progress counter, I should say, so you can level her up to a degree. Plus, it's going to put another one on there, and you get to draw a card to replace it. And you got 2 of those. Then we have a support here for 1, Ronnie Williams, Alter Ego action. This is our Alter Ego card. Exhaust Ronnie Williams to either heal 2 damage from Riri or place 1 progress counter on Riri Williams. And sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Like I said, I don't know much about the character, but seems pretty good. And since this is a wild resource, it means you can spend it. If you're using it to spend as an action, then that means you can use it to be that mental resource. Another support for 2, Tony Stark AI. Action, exhaust Tony Stark AI, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and add 1 to your hand and discard the other. So this is basically like a card draw. Seems pretty good. 2 cost upgrade, Photon Blasters, you get plus 2 hit points. Hero action, exhaust Photon Blasters, deal damage to an enemy equal to Ironheart's version number. So making you want to level her up. To upgrade, I'm assuming all of these are going to do something with her version number. Propulsion Jets, you get plus 2 hit points. Exhaust Propulsion Jets, remove threat from a scheme. So there's the damage one. This is the threat removal one. And that's the last of her 15 cards that are unique to her. All right, next we have Cloud9. You usually, like I said, when you saw she was going to be built to leadership, and usually you get a new ally immediately that is a new ally card, brand new. And then also, since it's a leadership deck, we should see several new leadership allies. So let's check it out. We got 3 here for the ally, 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequence star. And hero action, exhaust Cloud9, choose a player. Until the end of that phase, each aerial character that player controls get plus 1 thwart. So if you have a bunch of aerial allies, which I don't know many off the top of my head, but I also don't pay attention to aerial too much. I haven't really built an aerial deck. But I'm assuming since she's Ironheart, aerial, this does aerial, we're probably going to see some aerial allies here. But not bad in just a 3/3 for 1 thwart or 1 attack. And I mean, since it says aerial character, it does allow you to buff your your character here, because she had aerial. After she levels up from version 1, she has aerial for version 2 and 3. So, I mean, lets you make her thwart better once she's leveled up. And she won't die, so if you got her to her last hit point. So, seems good. We have Falcon. Not Sam Falcon, but I'll butcher that name, I'm sure. But I think that's Joaquin Torres. If I butchered it, sorry. 4 cost, 3, 1 thwart, 2 attack with only 1 consequence star. As a hero response, after Falcon attacks or thwarts, spend a reflex resource. Ready another champion character you control. So, once again, can trigger her. He is aerial, so he can be triggered with this one, the thwart for better. We got Patriot here for 3 for 4 hit points. 2 thwart, 1 attack, but he does take 2 consequence stars to thwart. And as a hero response, after Patriot enters play, choose a champion character. That character gets +1 to each of its basic powers until the end of the round. I am noticing one other thing I just thought of with the champion here when I read it here, because I believe it was Miles Morales that does things with champions also. So this might allow you to take, if you're a big Miles Morales fan and you get the Miles Morales box from the Sinister Motives, it might be easier to build into this champions theme also. Now, I don't think he gets the aerial, so you probably wouldn't be able to go with that champion so much, but either way. All right, so those were all 3 new new allies that I did not recognize. Now we have a event here, go all out for 2. Requirement, reflex. I'm pretty sure this is new. I do not remember this one. And requirement means you have to use the reflex while paying for this card. Spend the listed resources. So you have to use that resource to pay for this card, which kind of goes against this deck. I guess unless you have a bunch of wild. Because a lot of this you want that mental resource. So anyways, hero action attack. Exhaust your hero. Deal damage to an enemy equal to the total of your hero's thwart, attack, and defense values. And since this is new, we're probably getting 3 of them, because that is the max you can have inside of a deck when you're just building with it. And then we have 3, or that's the, what do they call it? The play set. There we go. 3 for an event, push ahead. I'm pretty sure this one's new also. Now this one goes with it because it does talk about the mental resource. While paying for this card, spend the listed resource. Hero action thwart. Exhaust your hero. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the total of your hero's thwart, attack, and defense. And these are some big ones if you think about it, especially with her leveled up. Because her leveled up, you're talking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they could thwart for 8. And I guess really this goes hand in hand with this one, because they can do the same thing, but it's attack. And this is that reflex, so that you can pay for this one. So I guess if you're playing for this with this one and you're playing with that one, I can see some combos coming out of this. Pretty cool. And heck, I'm just thinking about my Ant-Man. If I have a bunch of this resource in there, just using this one just because, pretty sure when he's in giant form, we're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I didn't have to level him up or nothing. That's just base. Seems really good. It is kind of pricey, but 3 to thwart or to thwart for 8, or 2 to attack for, yeah, that's pretty good. Anyways, morale boost. This is an oldie. Not really gonna go over it, but it's a hero action. Choose a hero. Turn it around to get pluses. But I mean, if you could pay for that and pay for this, so maybe this is making that a little bit more viable. And there's 3 of those in there. Sorry, but it is an old one. R&D facility. Location shield. 3 support. Requirement, you have to pay 2 mental resources. A part of that 3. And then exhaust R&D facility. Remove 1 research counter from it. Choose a friendly character in play. That character gets +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of phase. I actually like these cards. I know a lot of people don't play with them. I play with the shield one, the justice one all the time. Not 3 of, but I do play with these. But they're going to give you 3 because this is a new one. Old card, but with the Nova deck, I saw that these are making a little bit more of a comeback, or not really more of a comeback, but a little bit more usable. But really good for the leadership deck because allies are expensive. You can have 2 of them, so they give you 2 of them. This is an old repeat. These are basics. That means it can be in any deck, no matter what aspect it is. But this is an old card that I've seen now printed, but it makes it where you could have, if you got it in one of your decks, you could throw it in another deck if you want to. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a new ally. I do not recognize it at least. 4 for 3 hit points. Interesting. He's got 0 thwart, 0 attack. Takes 1 consequence star. As a response, after Snow Guard enters play, place up to 3 shift counters here. While the shift counters here are equal to X, she gets. So you got to see how many counters you have on them. So +3 attack, 1 +3 attack and her attacks gain overkill. 2 +3 thwart and gains the aerial trait. 3 +5 hit points and gains retaliate 1. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this, probably overreading it as I'm just trying to bust through this, but sounds really good. I think I'm overreading on that though. I think it's still good. I just don't think it's as good as my brain's going. Man, that's amazing. Vivian here for 2 thwart, 1 attack, but it will knock her out on the thwart because it takes 2 consequence damage. But here's an aerial, another aerial, a champion, an android. I'm not go over that. There's a champion here. But android, hero response after Vivian enters play, choose an attachment, non-elite minion, or non-permanent side scheme. Till the end of the round, treat that card's printed text box as if it were blank, except for traits. I don't think she's old, but I could be wrong. Alright, here we go. 3 cost event, go for champions, max 1 per deck, play only if your identity has the champion trait. Hero action, each champion character in play cannot take damage until the end of the round. So, I mean, that's pretty good because that's consequence damage I'm talking about. So it makes it to where if you play this and you're playing a champion deck, all of your allies now, especially in a leadership deck, are going to be able to attack and not take any consequence, or thwart and not take any consequence damage. So this could be really good if you're building a deck with a bunch of champion allies. Now you are still limited unless you find ways, because you can only have 2 allies out at a time. But if your main character is a champion also, well, I guess it really doesn't do too much for that. This is an oldie, but in my opinion, I play with it in almost every deck. Don't have to though. I think there's a few I don't have it in, but getting another one so that I can put it in every deck. 2 upgrade here, ingenuity, play only if your identity has the genius trait, which we saw pop up earlier or with the previous expansion. Max 1 per player, exhaust ingenuity to generate that mental resource. So if you're playing a genius, which I've seen geniuses in others, but we've never seen anything that just really pertain to that genius trait. So now we're starting to see more of that. And I actually did notice that with the last few expansions. We're starting to see a lot more of these cards come out that are using these traits that were with your alter ego, which we didn't really see a lot of that. Now we are. Now we're seeing genius, civilian, and that's really cool because now that makes you go more into that having to switch to alter ego form and doing things in your alter ego form. But new cards, so we're seeing 3. All right, so I'm gonna stop here and just say for the new people. So right there, if you were buying this, you were just wanting to play with your friends, you would just take out your characters because I mixed it in there. It'd just be 1 character normally. This one has 3, but you would shuffle this up, and your deck is good to go. You can play it. This deck hopefully will work. We'll put it against Rhino. I haven't seen one that did not work yet, and I've only had like 2 that I just did not like. So for the most part, and when I say I didn't like them, I just didn't like the feel of them. I wanted to make changes. And I'm sure you're going to, that's kind of the point of the game, you're going to want to make changes. But off to the sidetrack, but you would just shuffle this deck together and it would be good to go. Next, we're going to talk about, the next card is usually your obligation. This will have to be sleeved up or put with the encounter deck. If you're playing with Ironheart, you would hand this to the person setting up the game, because every person has an obligation they have to deal with. Scarlet Witch is the only one I've seen so far that has 2 that would mix in. But other than that, what would happen is during the encounter phase, if this card gets popped up, you would have to deal with this. So if some other character draws this, they would have to give this one to you if you're playing Ironheart, and you would have to deal with this, which is remove 1 progress counter from your identity, then discard this card. If no progress counter was removed this way, deal yourself 1 face down encounter card, then shuffle this card into the encounter deck. So she actually does not have a way to get rid of this card permanently, which some do and some don't, but most of them have a way to get rid of it permanently. She does not. This just goes to the discard pile or shuffles right back in. And it has 2 boosts. So the next 5 cards, and it does say 5 down at the bottom. I think I saw one with 6 again, but I think it may be Venom. I may be wrong though. But the next 5 cards are going to deal with that. Sorry, windy day outside. But the next 5 cards are going to deal with that nemesis that can be brought in with Shadows of the Past, or now I've found another way with the Mysterio modular set. But it's got the rule by force. This is the side scheme that would be brought in by Shadows of the Past. The side scheme that your nemesis will all of a sudden jump in. And then we have her nemesis here, which force response after villain phase ends. Give Lucia von Bardos a tough status card. Okay. And 3 boost, 2 scheme, 1 attack, 4 hit points. And while she has a tough status card, she gets +1 to both stats. Okay. Then we have the next 3 cards are going to be cards that will get mixed into the deck and mixed into the encounter deck, use my pronouns, and there are things you'll have to deal with. So now there's Cyborg Tech here. So it is attached to the minion with the most traits. If you cannot, this card gains Surge. Attached minion gets +3 hit points and gains Retaliate 1, which means Retaliate 1 means if you attack them, you're going to take damage. And then it's going to give them +1 attack also. The boost ability is only if it gets flipped over during the boost of the villain. So, and then Political Retribution, a treachery that if she's in play, she schemes. If Rule by Force is in play, which is her, I'm assuming her side scheme. So if this is in play also, place 3 threat on it. If neither is in play, this card gains Surge. What was hers? I'm sorry, I did skip over that. I just realized her side scheme is, while she is in play, this gains the hazard icon of each person, or not each person, the first player will have to be dealt an extra encounter card during the encounter step. And then while she is not in play, this card gains Accelerate, which means it'll add extra threat to the main scheme at the beginning of the villain phase. And there's probably, I'm about to say, it's usually multiples of these in there. All right, this just tells you everything I just now talked about. Stop. There's your pre-built deck. This is everything here. The other side of this is going to give you what the deck list is if you want to rebuild this deck. And then if you want to build into the other aspects other than leadership, go look up Appendix 1. Or if you want to rebuild your deck from this, go look up Appendix 1 in the rules reference. But now we're going to see new cards. And right now, these are typically new cards. I've only seen one time it was not a new card, and I do not remember it was one of the old hero decks. I was actually surprised. I was like, why did they give this one? But either way, here we go. We got a new Aggression Ally. And I always arguably, that the Aggression Allies are kind of beefy. Here we got 4 cost, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 3 attack, 2 damage, 2 consequence damage for the thwart, only 1 for the attack. Play only if your identity has a champion trait. So this can only be played if you're playing someone who has the champion trait. And then we notice this star on the attack, and that's what's down here. Divide damage from Bombshell's attack among each enemy as evenly as possible. So when she attacks, yeah, it's 3 damage, which that's still nothing to laugh at. That's 3 damage, but it does mean you have to spread it out. Now, it is really good if there are no minions to attack, or they could take to spread the damage out to, because that means the villain could just take straight 3 damage. Pretty cool. Man, maybe we're getting a bunch of new allies here, because we still got the modular set, which would make sense. Here we got a Justice ally, and it's Wasp here. Nadia Van Dyne, Wasp, and we got 2 cost for a 3 hit point, 2 thwart with 2 consequence damage, 1 attack with 1 consequence damage. Play only if your identity has the champion trait. Wasp ignores the guard keyword, patrol keyword, and crisis icon. So normally, guard says if the minion has guard, you cannot attack the main villain, and if the side scheme has this crisis icon, then you cannot thwart the main scheme. So she gets to ignore that. So pretty cool. And yeah, here's another. Now we got the other 4th aspect. New protection ally for 2 hit points. Cost 2 for 2 hit points. 1 thwart, 2 attack, but has to take 2 damage. Same wording we're used to. Play only if your identity has the champion trait. Hero interrupt. When a player card would be placed into a discard pile from play, exhaust pinpoint. Shuffle that card into the owner's deck instead. So I mean, if you don't want to thwart or attack, this could be really cool to allow you to keep cycling that a really good card back into your deck. I like her. And I mean, when a player card, I mean, I could think of some good protection cards but all right, so now we're going to see, and I didn't recognize it. I recognized the name. I didn't recognize the picture 100% because it could have been someone just blowing up. But the oh my god, the modular set we're going to see is a 7-card modular set for Zax. And we see here the side scheme that will get shuffled in. And then we get Zax here. And sorry, I'm not going to go over it. My voice is kind of going. I got to get used to it, talking for 20 plus minutes. But here we go. We got the attachment that'll be mixed in. And then we got that secondary attachment. We got an environment that'll get mixed in. And then we have 2 zaps here. And I'm just holding them on camera so you can read them. Well, this is the last one because we see 2 more of them. When revealed, take indirect damage equal to the total number of the reflex resource in your hand. If your identity was dealt 1 or fewer damage this way, this card gains surge, which surge means you'd have to do another card. And I'll go back over these. Aerostatic environment. Forced interrupt when the villain phase begins. Deal 2 indirect damage to each player with a reflex resource in their hand and or on a card they control. Hero action. Choose to either discard a card you control with a printed reflex resource or take 2 indirect damage. And then you can get rid of this. So this environment would come into play and you'd want to get rid of that so you're not taking damage. Especially if you're building into this resource. And then we got Haywire here attached to your identity. Treat this printed resource of each of your cards in your hand as if they were reflex, which goes to all these. Hero action, choose to either discard a card you control with a printed reflex resource or take 2 indirect damage. Discard this card. Interesting. I'm going to go on a side note here and talk about, so when I go with the Rhino and I do the playthrough with this deck unchanged, I typically do a random modular set, but since they're going to start doing this, hopefully, I'm going to go ahead and mix this modular set in. So it won't be wild. It'll be, this is a random. It will be this resource, this modular set when I do that playthrough. And I'll hopefully get that up as soon as I can, guys and girls. Zax, 2 scheme, 2 attack. Zax gets plus X attack and plus X hit points, where X is equal to the total number of reflex resources on cards the engaged player controls. Boost, if you have at least 2 reflex resources in your hand, put Zax into play engaged with you, and that'd be the boost if he gets flipped up during the boost. Otherwise, he schemes and attacks and has 4. And then his side scheme is gonna make it to where the acceleration will happen, where the main scheme will accelerate faster, and when revealed, each player must place threat here equal to the total number of reflex resources in their hand and on cards they control. So man, if you do have your deck built to do a lot of those, this could be a hard side scheme to get rid of. So awesome. All right, well with that, we're going to take this to the table, take it against Rhino. I'm going to get sleeved up and we'll see where we can go with that. But thank you for watching. and have a great day.